What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Howling Podcast. This is your host, Robert Carroll. Joining me is Jamel Owens
What's going on, everybody?
and Brian Carey.
How are you guys today?
And today, guys, we got a hot show for you guys. Starting off, we're going to talk about the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Apparently, there's a rumor going on about the prices coming from IGN just now. According to the Amazon's UK site, the Xbox One is supposedly running for $912 and the PlayStation 4 going for $781. And Amazon Germany had them earlier for roughly $1,300, but that's been moved down to the price I just mentioned. And
What?
And another site has listed both consoles around $600. So knowing this, the consoles ain't going no lower than no $600 apparently. What do you guys think?
Honestly, to be around like my expected range for them would probably be between 400 to 600, maybe 400 to 700. That's my range. That's what I thought was going to be happening. As far as it costing $1,300 or anywhere close to $1,000, I know that's pretty much what the system itself, the hardware itself, is probably worth because they made it very much like a CPU as far as specs. The thing is, to be selling it in such en masse, I know it's going to be consolidated prices. So I don't know. I don't know about that unless, like I said, everything is being sold as a bundle. Brian alluded to that possibility of each PS4 being sold with the PS Vita, since they want this Portal Play to be integral to every game. What do you think, Brian?
$600 a piece at minimum, right?
All these prices are pretty high. Again, UK site has it for $912 for the Xbox, $781 for the PlayStation 4, and one other site has them at both at $607. So roughly, but all the prices are no less than $600 for both.
Listen, I'll break it down into this. Bring on E3. Let's see what these things are really capable of. Let's see what type of games we're really pumping out. Because, I mean, it was kind of a pipe dream to expect these things to be about $500 or less, But $1,300, I mean, I can understand, yeah, you've got to meet those production costs, especially like Jamel alluded to, putting these things into mass production, that's going to cost a pretty penny. And you've got to turn a profit. So bring on E3. That's really all I can say. I'm not going to denounce this. They're just rumors after all.
True.
I'm not going to denounce this. Not going to wave the white flag, anything like that. Bring on E3. Let's see what these things are truly capable of.
Exactly.
Because when I buy a PlayStation, I buy an Xbox, I buy it for the games.
Right.
So bring on E3. Bring on the Tokyo Game Show later on this fall, and let's see what these things are truly capable of.
I mean, I agree. Like Brian just stated, this are just rumors, nothing confirmed. We're just giving y'all a price range, but it looks pretty clear that it's not going to be under $600. So for anybody who kind of missed out on the PS3 at launch, you might be also missing this launch too, possibly. But again, none of this is confirmed. But definitely something to watch out for. Look out for stuff on E3. That way you guys can get an idea of what what you guys might want, because prices are one thing, but as long as they can justify the price to some degree,
Exactly.
It might make it okay. Not saying spending $600 is easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it gets a little more better if I at least know what I'm getting for my money's worth.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. I would like to just agree with that. Like Brian said, wait till E3. We really need to see what each system is capable of. We used to always watch, the cinematography of these certain games. We're like, well, damn, what if the game could just play like this? So it's really going to have to play like you're watching the movie. Like, as far as its graphics, the smoothness, the crispness, is really going to have to look great for me to be able to conceive paying anything over $600, especially toward $1,000 range.
I agree with that. Speaking of which, we're going to go straight into the Xbox, talking more about its exclusives. They apparently invested $1 billion into the exclusive for next gen. So we kind of get to see why they're trying to, get more exclusives here, because these prices anywhere close that making things look a lot more sensible here. Brian, don't you agree?
Definitely. Listen, like I just said, $600 at minimum. That's fair to be expected for what we expect to get back. And if Microsoft says we're gonna invest $1 billion in exclusive titles for this console, 15 brand new exclusive just coming over this next year alone, 8 brand new IPs, that's respectable. That's fair. Like I said, again, bring on E3. Let's see what they've got to offer, aside from Call of Duty and Madden.
Right.
Let's see those brand new IPs. Let's see what innovations you guys are bringing to the game. Why am I gonna beg you to take my money over the next few weeks? Show me what you got.
I agree with that. Jamel, you got anything on that?
I would say, and just in addition to the money they want to ask for, just hearing that Microsoft wants to spend $1 billion on new developers and all that, that's a great joy to hear. I mean, you don't know Microsoft for wanting to be the innovator. They always push out their Call of Duties, their Maddens, their Forza, their same basic setup that they know is just the formula for success. And it's always been Sony that pushes out more of the innovation, more of the new developers. You always get some kind of genuine experience with their games. And if it's true that Microsoft wants to charge $900 some for their system, they're really gonna have to put something new and refreshing on the table.
Yeah, most definitely. Now moving on, we're going to talk about a little bit about the PlayStation 4 and the Vita. It's an ability to remote play its games. Apparently, all of its games are supposed to be able to play on the Vita, with the exception of any game using the iToy. So that means you can take any of your full games, your $6 full price games, you'll be able to take them on the go with you, and actually have all the function capabilities as you would on the PlayStation. The Vita always had good tech. It never did good in sales, but hopefully this will help bring it up a little bit. But I haven't played handhelds in a long time, and because Nintendo kind of held that market down for quite some time, thanks to Pokemon and Mario.
Thanks to Pokemon.
Yeah. Mainly Pokemon.
Mainly Pokemon. But I am kind of happy to see that Sony trying to get back into the handheld outside of just being full of tech, actually trying to bring some real games along with it. Because most of the games, like for say Birth by Sleep, for instance, that have been lovely to play, on handheld, but both on console as well. So maybe we can see something like that happen as well. What you think, Brian?
Definitely. I mean, the Vita needs some type of support. It really does. It's a nice little handheld. It's capable of a lot, but the titles have been uninspired. They've been kind of lackluster. The sales haven't been great. If they're looking to integrate this fully into the PS4, I mean, we're talking about a mandatory connection. This could be a great thing. I mean, I feel that you'd be missing out on a lot. Like Robbie and I discussed a little bit the other day.
Right.
I feel like you'd be missing out on a good bit of the experience if hey, I mean, I'm playing my game at home, and now I'm on my lunch break at work, and you pick up your Vita, and you're right where you started. You're literally the same place you were while you were playing at home.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty great. Console gaming on the go. Really, what can you say?
Exactly.
What can you say?
Waiting for that for a long time. You got anything to add on that, Jamil?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good move because it just brings a new connectivity to your gaming experience. And I think this would bring a lot more interest to purchasing the Vita.
Right.
Because, like we said, most of the titles for the handheld system, there weren't anything anybody wanted to play, honestly. They tried to do little things. I mean, there were a lot of innovative games on there, of course, but it wasn't anything anybody really wanted to play. If I could know that I could play my Uncharted, I could play my God of War, I could play any of the titles that I know I love playing and just pick it up in the same spot, I would love to be able to do that. And I think this is definitely going to generate more sales of the Vita.
I definitely agree with that. Moving down the road, Square Enix had published an article talking about where it is with some of his latest titles coming up, being the remakes of Final Fantasy X and X-2, and also the PC version of Final Fantasy VIII.
Don't forget Lightning Returns.
And Lightning Returns. Can't forget about that. Completing the trilogy that is 13, starring Lightning.
Fabula Nova Crystallis, my ass. Whatever.
Exactly. We're about almost to the next console. We haven't even finished that trilogy. But it is what it is. But I think aside from the fact that all these titles are most just remakes of old ones, I think it's very telling that Square Enix definitely doesn't have much going on up in this camp outside of Lightning, apparently. Don't you think, Brian?
Yeah. We touched on this in the piece on Game How. We encourage you guys to check it out. Where it's just like the only titles they reported on this progress report, where they only report on 4 titles, 3 of which are only remakes of previous titles. Final Fantasy X and X-2 are just HD remakes of the originals for the PS2 game. Final Fantasy VIII, I mean, that was a PlayStation 1 game, and they're just rebooting it. They're just redoing it for the PC. Lightning Returns is almost at 70%. Good for you, Square. Good for you. You know, it feels like you forced this entire Final Fantasy 13 trilogy because it almost seems like you were butthurt about the reaction to 13, the first 13, the original. I didn't think it was a terrible game at all. I thought that combat system was pretty fun, but yeah, it certainly had its flaws. And it seems like you guys are butthurt over like the fact that people didn't go crazy about it. But more importantly than that, where's Versus 13?
Yes,
Exactly.
Where's Versus 13? All right. Look, that game was first announced in 2006. It's now 2013. Since then, the entire Mass Effect trilogy is coming past. Uncharted trilogy is coming past. We're waiting for our fourth Assassin's Creed game, not to mention all the side games that came along with that. Yeah, God of War, what was that? God of War 2, 3, and Ascension have all come out, not to mention the side games for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the entire console generation. I can't even. Jamal, take the floor, please.
And definitely what these percentages show, and it's not just the numbers themselves, it's the titles. Like we were saying, these are all remakes, HD this, HD that. There's nothing new, and it just probably shows where Square Enix stands right now. I'm sure it's very hard to be very productive with your creativity when both of your CEOs have left the building.
Within the same 4 months, you guys.
Exactly. So they're on tough times right now. So I guess they feel that going this route is the best way they can, I guess, keep the ship afloat. But like we said, we've been waiting for far too long for Kingdom Hearts 3 Versus 13. Y'all talking about Final Fantasy 14. What happened? What happened? We had lines. We had series of games come out, full stories come full circle, and nothing, not even a peep about what we're doing. We haven't got any production percentage on any of these games.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Also, just to make sure, Final Fantasy 14 is an MMO topic. Is MMO correct?
Yes, it is.
Now it's made me think of something here. A company like Square Enix, at this point, definitely like you just mentioned, CEO's been stepping down. The whole company's going through pretty much a straight up shakedown. Mm-hmm. This company is nowhere equipped to handle MMO in this type of space. Between your the Old Republics, your Guild Wars 2s, your Rifts, and whatever's left of WoW now these days, that is not a company that is equipped to handle an MMO launch, let alone upkeep it. Considering you have nothing else in the pipeline worth playing.
I mean, don't forget their failures. Final Fantasy 11 was an MMO as well, and that was a big failure.
I'm thinking they're trying to put their eggs in that basket because just like we talked about with this Vita, now that they know that there's going to be more connectivity, more gaming on the go, they feel like that's probably the best chance to throw in an MMO, and it might be good. So I think maybe that's what they statistically have come up with, that to throw their eggs in that basket.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
I mean, I look for Square to do big things at Tokyo Game Show this year. I mean, E3 as well to a certain extent. But with this PlayStation 4 reveal, I'm sure that Sony's gone to them specifically and is like, we need something big.
Exactly.
I'm expecting some big things from Square from come Tokyo Game Show. I definitely am. I mean, maybe I'm being a little forward here, but I mean, maybe a release date or a trailer or a playable demo. Yeah, a new trailer for Versus 13 or Final Fantasy 15, whichever one that's supposed to be announced this upcoming E3. I believe it's 15.
Right.
Shoot, where's the beta? If the 14 is supposed to be MMO, where's the beta at? Throw a beta out there.
I'm sure that there's one available.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll check on that for you guys, but yeah, definitely.
Just really haven't cared enough to check because I don't want to play it. But yeah, we'll definitely let you guys know.
Yeah, it's like I said, like we just discussed here. Square Enix is kind of moving really slow here. We're all kind of disappointed. I'm sure you guys are too. We see y'all checking out the post. Y'all wondering the same question we have. Where is 13? Where is Kingdom Hearts? Where is Square Enix in this whole console generation? I'd say damn right skipped it, but it is what it is.
It was 13 and 13 too, and now
Did you like
13-3.
You're a fan of 13.
I was a fan of 13. I enjoyed playing 13. I enjoyed that combat system. A lot of people had issues with the main issue with the game was it was far too linear for a vast Final Fantasy game, which is definitely true. You can't revisit places that you went to earlier in the game. That's certainly frustrating. I mean, when you're trying to collect those trophies, get all those items and things like that, you got to go back to where you've been.
CP farming and whatnot.
Yeah, CP farming, exactly, things like that. You cannot really do that in Final Fantasy Versus 13 or Final Fantasy 13. There's no airship basically. The story was kind of blasé. I don't know, nonsensical. It was a little, I don't know, too much philosophical mumbo jumbo. It felt like the writers were getting in over their heads with some of the main themes of the story. But that combat system, that was aces. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of that. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. As you were.
Oh,
Talk
no.
about a detour.
No problem. All right, next up, we're going to talk about some movies, guys. Both Jamel and Brian has looked at some movies for us. You know, have a review for you. Starting off, we're going to go with Oblivion. Jamel, you went to saw that. Tell us what you thought about it.
Well, Oblivion was a pretty good movie. I cannot lie. It had Tom Cruise, Olga Kurylenko. You might know, I'm sure you know Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, all those movies. Olga Kurylenko from Hitman and Quantum Solace. This is pretty much a basic science fiction movie. Earth was attacked by an alien race, and now there are only 2 people left on the world. And these 2 people are pretty much the cleanup crew as they're drying up the Earth's water. And along this trek of trying to dry up the water, trying to get this going, they're met with people called scavengers. And, you know, they're fighting against the scavengers. They really don't know why. They just know. So there are pretty much times throughout this movie where it followed the basic science fiction movie plot line. There are several points where I could find myself quoting exactly what he was going to say next. I mean, and that's all good. It was something that was enjoyable. It definitely was pretty. It was definitely something that I wish, you know, hey, that's one of the movies when you were a little kid, like, dang, I wish I could be in something like that. The technology was cool and all that. The story, I mean, the twist of who the opposition really is, it really wasn't that surprising or anything. So, originality of the story, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. It was definitely predictable at a lot of moments. But overall, it was an enjoyable movie. And that's pretty much what it comes down to.
All right, then. And also got The Hangover 3. Brian, what you got to say about it?
Yeah, Hangover 3, I'll keep it short and sweet. Nice little way to close out the trilogy. If you're a fan of Leslie Chow, Ken Jeong's character, you're going to be a huge fan of this movie. He more or less steals the show. He's featured heavily a lot more in this movie than he is in the past too. This movie is much lighter than the previous one. It's not as dark. You don't have to worry about people losing their fingers and being impregnated. I don't want to get into too many spoilers about The Hangover 2, but I mean, it's aside from the several F-bombs, it could have been rated PG-13. It was funny. It was a rather enjoyable flick. We got the review up on GameHow. We definitely implore you guys to check that out to know some more. But it was a great way to close the trilogy out. Served our characters justice, and that's really all you can ask for. Perhaps the movie lasted, 2 movies too long, but it is what it is.
Alrighty then. We'll close out this movie section. We'll talk a little bit about the Avengers 2. Joss Whedon wants to put in Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Now, for any of you Marvel fans out there, I'm sure you're quite aware that Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch are X-Men characters the movie rights belong to Fox. Now, Joss Whedon has claimed he's still going to put them in the movie, just not reference them as mutants. From what I've been seeing on the web, Fox hasn't said anything against that, but I'm pretty sure they will if this comes to fruition. Brian, what's your take on it?
Well, it's kind of funny because Fox is filming Days of Future Past, and you know how Brian Singer likes to tweet information as it happens on film. And they've already cast their choice for Quicksilver. What was the kid's name? Evan Peters from American Horror Story.
Okay.
They've already cast a character for Quicksilver for Days of Future Past, and Joss Whedon's not backing down. He's saying, "Hey, I still intend to use him in my flick," and expect some legal action, you guys. I mean, again, I hate to promote the website more, but there's a post up on GameHow we definitely should implore you guys to check out on this very topic. But it looks like these two studios are gonna go to war over this. Quicksilver, I mean, really not the most worthy character of such scrutiny, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, Fox is they intend to use it for Days of Future Past, and Joss Whedon's not backing down. Not at all. It looks like he has big plans for both the Scarlet Witch and her brother, Quicksilver, for the next Avengers flick. and he's not backing down. Even though Kevin Feige says the draft could be completely revised, it doesn't seem like Joss Whedon's backing down from this. Do you have anything like that?
This is going to be an interesting one.
Well, I do want to add on to Brian's point. I think partly this choice, not only I know obviously Joss Whedon wants these characters, but I do think that because both what's the two characters who didn't have powers in Avengers, Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye. They were the two lesser known characters.
It's Black Widow and Hawkeye, actually.
My mistake. Black Widow again. Black Widow and Hawkeye. They didn't have any powers, and they're probably the least, I'd say, exciting characters in the Avengers. I could easily see them two being replaced for Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, just because they have power or something a little more interesting for on screen. Definitely, you can use their abilities, for a better summer blockbuster movie. But other than that, also I think it also helps Marvel because Marvel cheap. R.I.P. Terrence Howard.
R.I.P. Terrence Howard.
They cheap over there. I would definitely say that they would quickly replace those two characters for some real cheap people over there. They'll replace Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and put them in for the two lesser known characters up in there. But hey, we'll have to find out and see. But I will be interested to see that. But anyway, moving on. We want to talk about this new anime we heard about, Devil Survivor 2. Our resident anime expert, Jamel Owens, what you got on the subject?
Well, guys, we have Devil Survivor 2. It's a fairly new anime. There's only 4 episodes up on Hulu right now. I'm not sure how many are circulating the web. But it's definitely, you could say, it is an upgraded and a darker version of Digimon, so to speak. Brian laughs, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Digimon had a good story. Forget what y'all think.
No, that's
anyway.
Like Digimon.
So it's these children who are graduating high school, and they're supposed to get this app on their phone, and it takes a picture of your friend who's on the app. It takes a picture of their face when they die. And so they do this, and almost immediately after the rodeo begins, and they're thrown into a world where they're given the choice whether or not they want to die or they want to live. And when they choose to want to live, they're given command over these demons out there. And so right now we're just 4 episodes. They're just trying to build the characters up a little bit, trying to get you introduced to the bigger picture, the government influences and all that kind of stuff. Just a little bit of a spoiler, but so far it's pretty interesting. Like I said, it's I'm definitely interested in seeing where it's gonna go. If there will be any twists and turns in this, or if it's just gonna be straightforward. But even so far, it's very interesting. What you think, Ryan?
Look, Devil Survivor 2 was pretty neat. It's got some great action scenes. You know me, I'm a huge fan for big budget. Big budget action scenes are kind of my weakness when it comes to anime, and they're not lacking at all in these first 4 episodes that we watched this afternoon. Definitely not at all. Characters still need more time to develop. It's only we just started the anime. Totally typical, totally understandable. But for my short attention span, those fight scenes are gluing me in. Stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned.
Alright then, guys. Well, that's about it for our show this week. Appreciate y'all, joining us today. Also, just a couple of side notes. One, we got our RSS feeds back up, so y'all can go ahead and subscribe to us. Watch out for new posts that we come out with. Also, as well as come on, just comment. Let us know what you guys think. We appreciate y'all comments and everything. Let us know how we're doing. But other than that, we'll see y'all next week. This is Robert Carroll,
Jamel Owens,
Brian Carey,
and we'll see y'all next week. Over and out.
Peace.
Peace out.